What's going on? You're in the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. Hold on tight. We're about to have some fun with this next one. And if you're like me and you have years of experience in the restaurant and hospitality industry, well, I hope you especially enjoy this. We are looking at the debut record from Canadian band Fresh Pepper, entitled Fresh Pepper. Fresh Pepper, say when? Well, that was released on June 17th. Grazie. I won't apologize for it. If you've seen that skit, I don't know how your head just doesn't immediately go there. Whether it's me bringing out the pepper shaker or someone bringing it out for me for years now. I think that came out in 1994. I just immediately think of Adam Sandler and Dana Carvey in that brilliant sketch. Shout out to my buddy Dallas, too. We worked at the Wild Garlic Grill together for probably about 4 years together, and we utilize that joke more often than not. Probably shouldn't have done it as much as we should have, but super funny. If you're not familiar with it, I will attach a link to that video. You can check it out. Adds another just fun dimension to what is arguably the most unique artistic expression exploring our beautiful industry. There's movies out there, there's music out there, there's other artistic expressions out there that explore hospitality, food service, hotel management, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I think that none of those things tap into what is fundamentally at the core of that industry. And it's very similar to what's at the core of the music industry, I'll argue. So I'm really excited to talk about this record put together by Andre Ethier, not the baseball player, the Canadian musician. Another random side note, I was trying to specify my search, and in doing so, as I typed in musician, I got to I, and the first option it gave me was Andre Ethier's middle finger. Like, that's not even close. But Andre Ethier puts this thing together with Joseph Shabason, who is outstanding on saxophone. If you're going to make me pick one thing that I absolutely 100% love about this album more than anything, it is his performance on this record. It is remarkable. They bring together this cast of players who, aside from all being musicians, have all worked in the restaurant industry. And so kudos to whoever wrote the description of this record on the Bandcamp page. I would check that out before you get into this thing. It's nicely put. This experience is not about these players coming together to roll through their traumas, all their toxic experiences, their setbacks. This is a tough industry. I'm sure there's a ton of commiseration that could have gone down in the process of making this record, but that's not what this album is about. And what I'll argue, and I think you'll feel it when you listen to this thing, this album taps into that feeling of contentment that has kept all of us crazy people in this industry for as long as we've been in it. And even the people that have moved on that I know that are doing different things professionally with their lives will still reflect on those really good nights, those fun post-Saturday shift evenings where you come together with a cocktail, maybe a cigarette, you're telling stories, you're hanging out with your friends, you're going over all this stuff. And much like music, there's this sense of community that comes out of that experience. It's why you see both go hand in hand. It's why you listen to music while you're eating food. They're both so fundamentally the same in that regard. And so I love that. I love that about this record. Like I said, this is an industry that is physically taxing. It's mentally taxing. It's something that I think everybody should do for a little bit just because of the situation that it puts you in. There's very little that I've done in my life that has the level of chaos that you're trying to control as much as this industry does. Any number of variables, a spilled glass, I need a side of ranch. All this time you're trying to manage what it is you need first and foremost for your tables, and you're having all these different variables thrown at you. So as far as time management skills, I don't think there's anything out there that can test a person as well as far as doing things on the fly and making things happen with a polish too. And the other thing is the number of personalities that you deal with. And it's unfortunate that there's, some concepts that you walk into and sadly people are forced to deal with toxicity to a level that is unfair. I think we've all seen it before. But overall, the experience, it forces you to deal with so many different personalities and to find that middle ground in doing so. And I think that's fundamentally so important. I think that our society has reached a point where we're unable to do that. I honestly think that if people were just able to serve a little bit, they would at least have the skill set to debate, to meet people halfway, to see the argument on the other side. I think it's a really important thing. And I think that, like I said, there's very few professions out there that can provide you with that skill set. I think at some point, ultimately, it's important to move on. I'm certainly at that point in my life where I'm trying to get out of it. But I'll be the first to tell you that the service industry has created so many opportunities for me in my life. And I think that any number of servers who have done it successfully will tell you the exact same. It's been good for your pocketbook. It's been good for my character. It's been good for my networking. It's really overall been a very positive experience. And I think that music, you look at musicians that are starting out, they're touring, the grind of being on the road, doing things with your own pocket, not having a lot of money, not having a ton of resources. It's tough. It's hard, but you do it because you love it. And those people that I'm talking about, like I said, even the ones that have moved on, they can think about those Saturday nights where, they just hit everything on point, and they can see the warmth around that table, the love that is being shared there. And I think that's really important. Music does exactly the same thing. And I think that unlike any other artistic expression out there, this record captures that essence so remarkably well. So I really just want to applaud the 7 players that came together to make this record. And if you're in the service industry, I would give this a go, especially this weekend. I might wait till you have kind of a chaotic Saturday night and then mellow out with some friends, throw this thing on. And I think you'll be really pleased with the feeling that this record evokes. I definitely was. It's part of the reason that I took so long with this thing. I've showed this album to a lot of people, and a lot of people have really been really pleased with the music itself. You get this great alternative jazz that explores some funk, some soul, a little bit of gospel. There's lots of great stuff going on. Definitely some good rock and roll elements here as well. But just the feeling that this record creates is very powerful, and so I'm loving it for that reason. New Ways of Chopping Onions, just a fun avant-garde title to open this thing up. I'm still smiling about it. I mean, just look at my grin. I think it's a great song title. Immediately establishes what is going on. And as far as Andre Ethier and his vocal element on this thing, he's great. So much Barry White that I can hear in his voice. It's almost recitative, but it's still just got this low, groovy, almost poetic quality that allows it to carry through all the songs when he's choosing to sing. There's some instrumental moments, but man, his voice is so smooth and so pleasant to listen to. This new opener, New Ways of Chopping Onions, definitely got some funk elements to it. There's this quiet tempest of keys in the background, just this almost silent storm that's moving in and out of this song. It is phenomenal. So well done. Love the opener on this thing. Your second track is Walkin', an instrumental song, and these song titles are great. They're kind of open-ended in a way. You get some of them like this song, Walkin', that I know that there was a time in my life where I had to walk to work, and that can be tough, walking to work, and then you got to do all that physical activity, and then you got to walk home. I'll admit, oftentimes I stopped at the store. When it was dark out, I'd walk through the neighborhoods with a bottle of wine, and that is how I walked home. No shame in hoboing a bottle of wine. It's it's just how I got through it. I'm not going to recommend it for anybody. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but that's how I dealt with that. Prep Cook in the Weeds is your third track, leading off of that instrumental, which was a cool track. It had some minimal drumming. I like the way the music builds in that 3+ minute track, and the way that it leads into that third track. Prep Cook in the Weeds. I think we've all seen that Sad Individual. So if you know, the album title, or the song title, is great in that regard. But I like the ambient keys that open up this track. It's got this great bass groove that kicks in. I love the bass work on this record as well. And it's going to drive the track, and there's all these bright melodies that move in and out of this thing. It's you think of the song title, you think of that person in that moment, and it's a tough moment. But I think any person that's been in that moment will reflect on it and the character that they built from it, the lessons that they learned from that experience, as it happens time and time again, as you learn to manage it better. I think that's the great thing about getting older in life in general, is that you have these experiences as far as managing chaos. And so something that, in your late teens or early 20s seemed so serious, like it might be the end of the world, by the time you end up my age, I'm 38 now, it's not the end of the world. You've been there, you've done that, you know how to deal with it, and you're able to move on. And, even more so, it's the one thing that I look forward to about getting older. There's certainly lessons that I'm learning now, even as far as this channel. I'm excited to see where this project is in my 40s. So while I enjoyed my youth, I think that there's so much to love about moving into older age and what that experience provides you and how it allows you to move forward. And that, again, I feel like is what is being captured on this record. That essence is just so powerful here. Waiting On is your fourth song. Balances jazz with that gentle funk. Great song title there too. Waiting on what, and talked to a lot of people in my experiences over the years. There's a lot of people that are doing this job and waiting on some type of change. It's really, it's a unique word choice there. I think it's a great double entendre as far as the title. It's just so much great art here, so much fun stuff to talk about. Seahorse Tranquilizer. We get a little Dan Behar on this thing from Destroyer 2. It's so cool. There's this gentle hum of conversation, like in a restaurant in the background. This thing just has this loose ambient composition. The vocal element is great. Dan's appearance on this thing is super awesome. I love that he appeared on this record. Destroyer's newest record as well. I reviewed that recently. That is outstanding as well. Your sixth song, Dish Pit, is an interesting song. This is much like the individual in the Dish Pit more often than not. This song is a little different than the rest of the record. It stands out. It's unique in its own right. It's an instrumental track that's got this electro jazz fusion. It's funny. I like the energy that it captures, and if you know, you know. Your seventh song, Kangi Around Me, is the best song on the record. It's this gorgeous blend of soft rock. There's almost a prog rock element to this song as it's mixed with the jazz that, really is the foundation of this record. An amazing song. Kangi Around Me and New Ways of Chopping Onions, man, both those songs. Seahorse too, it's like I'm back and forth between all three of them. All three of them are remarkable. And then The Worm, your final track, it's got this soft rock feel, very unique again in its own right. There's nothing really else on the record that's sounding like this particular track, but I like the way that this thing opens up with just a light rock and roll style riff, soft rock riff, I'll spit that out, and then it fills out and you get this other, these other influences. It's like this balance of gentle pop and jazz that closes this thing out. But this record, my goodness, you can experience it on your own if you're not, if you don't have that industry experience, and I think that this will be a powerful experience for you. But I really would recommend, if you have any type of service experience or hospitality experience whatsoever, check this project out. If you've been in it a long time as well, especially as we've talked about in this review, this record is capturing that essence that keeps all of us crazy people in this, in a line of work that's like this. And it's that, at the end of the day, it's that community, it's that experience that you create for other people and for yourself. And so thank you to all of the players on this album, and to all of you hardworking people out there in the service industry. I know it's very difficult right now. There's just not a lot of help out there, and I know that a lot of you that are stuck with it are grinding and doing your best. Keep your heads up. This is the type of project that I think you need to check out. I think that this record will help refreshen your spirit if you're in need of that. So I hope you find this review helpful. Hope you enjoyed listening to this record. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all the things to help me blow this project up in 2022, and stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. And we will see you next time on the Beat Sessions.